All right, people, here we are again with Bar Talk Raw and Unfiltered. I'm your boy, the Aristotle Scholar.
I'm Road Rage.
Black Trizzy.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit today about mental health and wellness and, how do we really deal with that? Because Black Trizzy, let's just say, a lot of comments about, your views on women and who hurt you. I mean, you seem like you're scarred. Are you okay? Do you need therapy? I mean, what's your take on this whole idea of, mental health and illness and that right there? So, Trizzy, as you know, we're going to start with you.
Of course, why not? Basically my thought process is this way because of experiences, Not like it's hurting any experience, it's just experiences in general. There's a lot of crazy motherfuckers out here, and I just learned how to adapt and learn how to accept certain things you can't change. I don't live in like La La Land or a land of delusion. All my stuff is done by, just trial and error and things of that nature.
So, Rage, we already know. What is your take on our main man, Trizzy, over here? And is he delusional for, number one, being a black man with the name Black Trizzy, the Black Trump? Do you see that as, problematic?
Listen, he puts his foot in his mouth every time he talks. So what I'm saying to you is mental health, which was the question, and how do you feel about it and who's hurt you? So basically you putting the blame back on women who's basically done you wrong, and that's where your mental health is going to sit there and stay. Baby, get some help. Just talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't out here to get you. But your mental health is definitely something you need to take care of, because at the end of the day, you got to live with you. Anybody can come in and out of your life, but you got to live with you.
Trizzy?
Listen, Rage and I disagree on everything. Just like this issue, we disagree. My thing is this: look like a duck, walk like a duck, crack like a duck. Chances are it's a hole. Plain and simple. We got to stop living in this la la land.
Poor baby, he's so
things
lost.
Things don't exist.
He's so lost.
It does.
He's so lost.
This is the generation we live in.
Oh my goodness.
And I think as things go on, you're going to start to see a lot of men see things through the same lens I see it through. They just haven't reached there yet. I think it's starting to happen now, but I was like this for years.
But you see that dark lens, though. Y'all see that dark lens, right? Don't put.
All right. So when we talk about, so what do you think is causing, as you say, Trizzy, the delusion that a lot of, would you say it's all women or modern women that suffer from this Disney delusion?
Not all women, but probably like a good 80%. 85%.
He said 80.
It's not all, but it's about 85 fucking percent.
He said 85.
Without a doubt.
Wow. Damn, y'all fucked him up like that?
Well, it's not even being fucked up. It's like think about
clearly it's you being fucked up.
No, I think a lot of men feel that way. We just don't come out and say it.
All right, so let's get back to how I framed the question. The whole idea of the Disney delusion. And the reason why I say Disney delusion is because we're in an era where there's a paradigm shift in what we would consider, quote unquote, gender roles. We have women who are now in the workforce who still feel that just because he's a man, he's obligated to pay, even if she's making more money because he's a man.
Where are those women at?
Trizzy?
Where are those women at? In the fucking suburbs with their doctor husbands and their dentist husbands and things of that nature. Trizzy is talking about a group of individually younger women who are out here exposing themselves or giving themselves to anybody and everybody, and that is not a 85% amount. He's delusional himself, as we know, and we're just going to keep it that way. But we're going to take care of him, I promise you, y'all. Somebody going to sponsor us, and we're going to get him the help he needs.
The average 40-year-old woman has about 30 bodies.
Incorrect.
Fellas, let that shit marinate.
Incorrect.
30 fucking bodies.
He's not an average 40-year-old woman.
Out of 30 bodies, I'm going to say 15 busting it raw. Disgusting.
All
And he
right.
goes in right behind them. That's more disgusting.
In
Well-
the past, maybe, but not recent. I'm a grown man now.
Yeah, because
I
ain't
mean-
nobody dealing with you, retard.
So we're seeing on, I mean, I know I'm seeing, I don't know if you're seeing on these social media reels where women are talking about, listen, women, if you don't even have at least 50 bodies under you, you're not living life. I mean, what kind of message is that sending? And is that a sign of mental
health.
issues?
Yeah, she has mental health
Why do you
issues.
say, as a woman, why do you say
Because
that,
as a
Rach?
woman, why would you tell another woman to have 50 bodies under you to be living? You understand? Like, I remember working somewhere and the people were like
Wait,
doing syphilis. Syphilis was a big thing at the time. Syphilis. Do you understand what syphilis is? And I said that to somebody I was trying to talk to. You know what that bastard said to me? They living their best life. I was good after that. Because at the end of the day, you can't have your best life if you're walking around with a disease. Baby, get over it. Stop that bull crap.
I mean, but right now we're seeing where it seems like it's socially acceptable now to be walking around and admitting that you have a high body count and that an STD is just part of everyday life.
Did you see this fool? It's socially acceptable? Did you hear the things that's coming out of his mouth and you think that's socially acceptable to have bodies under you just to have a count on your coochie?
So what kind of, help would you say, both men and women who are engaged in that type of promiscuous
Seek
behavior?
God. Okay? Seek God is what I would say. Okay? Keep your legs closed too. And definitely don't be messing with married people. Please.
I think, don't get me wrong, like we discussed before, whole serve a purpose. Bust downs. Now, every now and then you need bust downs. Let's be honest. See, a lot of men don't come on the podcast and talk honest like Black Trizzy. Just being honest. Bust downs, there is a market for it. Here's where the problem lies. You can't be a bust down and turn around and think you can be a wife. That just doesn't work.
That shit happens all the time.
Yeah,
Look how many strippers married.
not too many.
Look how many hoes came up off that corner
Not
because
too
the
many.
rich men didn't understand it.
Listen, I think women been watching too many episodes of Pretty Woman. That doesn't exist.
I don't think people even know what Pretty Woman is in this generation
No.
going on. I kid you not, they don't even fuck with that movie. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying to you is it does happen. It's not about Pretty Woman or watching the movie. It's about talking to people and having a conversation with individuals and learning their life and finding out their stuff. And it's reality shows. How about that? I remember there's a Dr. Medicine, some shit in Atlanta. And that bitch told her, the white woman, oh, you was a stripper, right? Didn't he get you off of that pole and marry you? And she told him it ain't no fun when the rabbit got a gun. So at the end of the day, when you hide and stuff of who you are and it could come out of who you are not, deal with it.
If you have a relationship with God, most of the time,
You
will
ain't
keep
got
it.
no relation.
I believe if you have a relationship with God, God will let you know if this girl's a bust down or a hoe.
Oh my God.
I think He will, because even if even a reformed hoe, there's no real such thing as a
Not a
reformed hoe.
reformed hoe.
It's like once you go, just like gay. You're gay. You're gay. You know, if you're a hoe, you're a hoe. And again, don't be
He's so stupid.
don't be upset at it. It's not.
He's
It's
so
not.
stupid.
It's not. You know,
Some
All
men
right,
want
so
those.
there's a purpose for
Some
you.
men
All right,
want
so
those.
so Trizzy, you say you're dealing with hoes, so let's deal with the theme and the topic of mental. Where do you think that's coming from? Is that because do you think that the so-called hoes that you've been dealing with, did they have what kind of mental health issues did they have, or was that just in their nature?
Just in their nature. Chances are, I hate to say this, but some of them look at their mother's past. They were hoes. I didn't find out until later on, after dating. You know?
He could only
They-
talk about his mama boo, because I'm sure he was in nobody else's households, and he don't know nothing else about nobody else's mama. So
Listen,
guess what?
So is that projection,
It's not-
Trizzy? Is that projection? Because some
not
people
a
just say
projection.
what you're
He's
saying is projection, and it's just
9 times out of 10,
lens.
when you find out from a girl, and you have these conversations, they'll be like, "Oh no, I don't sleep with that many people," and then you find out she did. But then look at her mother history.
How many people you slept with?
Because
bro?
her mother tells her, "It's okay, girl. Go out there, have your fun."
You're a
See, if the
damn
father's in the
lie.
home, the father says, "Yo, that's a disgrace to me." Is that or is that not a fact? As a
Baby.
man, that's
Okay,
a disgrace.
so all
a
the
daughter
women
going
raised-
out there getting bust down, that's disgraceful to any real man. Only to a woman that's acceptable. It's all right. Go find yourself. Girl, you got to find what you like. You got to get your peace.
And nobody
You gotta
tells
find
them
what
to
you
do that
like.
through their legs. It's you stupid fuckers who convince them to open them.
Is it us or is it the
It's you.
third wave of
It's you.
feminism
It's
telling
you.
women
No, no,
that
no, no, no.
that
It's
their
you
freedom
because
is
you be
coming
lying.
through being
because
sexual?
you be lying. You be lying, telling women how
women
you're gonna
aren't
stay
lying.
with them and how you're gonna be with them, and you do this mental game on these women, and these poor women think that you're gonna be with them, and all they gotta do is open up their legs and let you be with them, and next thing you know, poor baby, now you a bust down, cause listening to them. Stop listening to these mothers, please.
I love how Rage played this Little Red Riding Hood, this damsel in fucking distress.
I got your
These
damsel.
girls-
I got
These
your
girls
damsel.
are all busting it open
I
for
got
a
your
real
damsel.
one.
No, they not.
Let's
no, they
keep it
not.
honest.
I'm trying to, but you won't.
They are all out here busting it open, especially
Yeah.
these young ones. These young ones is out of control. Out of control.
I've got a 20-year-old. He's lying.
She has, I'm telling you from overall, now, you may not have that type of child because you instill discipline. But what I'm trying to say is that there's not a lot of parents out there that instill discipline in their kids.
And
So
what the hell make you think I did?
So with that being
I'm just
said,
guessing.
and again, we're
What
talking
the hell
about
you
mental
making?
health and illness, and some of the ones that are really, the main ones that we seem to be dealing with for the most part are anxiety and depression. Now, do you believe that those are just social conditions, or are they, I would say, cognitive, and where they're clinically problematic?
I think depression is something I think it has to do with trauma. You go through a lot. I don't think no one's born being depressed. I think what happens is that due to different trials and tribulations, different experiences, you go through a lot. That's the same thing. And now to get back on the women, especially when it comes to the women. As they take pipe from series different of men, you see each person they take pipe with, and each guy they sleep with, affects them mentally. You can always tell just by simple conversations nowadays whether that girl is ran through or not. Mental health, because each time a guy is busting off in her, he's leaving DNA inside of her. That's why a lot of men I know personally don't even date women with kids, with multiple baby daddies. Why? Because she'll never bond. She's mentally checked the fuck out. And that comes through having serious
So do you think
dates.
that causes depression or anxiety, or a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's E, all of the above. Once again, that letter E, all of the above.
What about you, Rage? I mean, when we're dealing with this whole idea of, anxiety and depression, and then some of these depressive thoughts can lead to suicidal ideations.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we are seeing more and more in our community, unfortunately, in our young children, in both boys and girls, is not only suicidal ideation, but also the completion. So where do you think some of that right there is coming from? Is it induced? Is it because of the media? Is it because of the medications that we're allowing our children to be on?
It's the medications that we're allowing our children to be on. Listen, I understand depression and anxiety has to be managed. But again, you have to make sure that you're doing it correctly. You can't allow these therapists and these psychiatrists and these doctors to give your kids all these medications, switch up on these medications, change any kind of operations that's going on at the same time, because guess what? Your kid is going to be affected. And if it's real depression and it's real anxiety, they sometimes do go further and move forward. And unfortunately, it can happen. where you do die or that person does die. It's not about blaming anybody. It's not about, oh, this nigga was up in me and all this dumb stuff. It is about some serious issues that people really haven't. Because how in the hell does a 5-year-old know that's depressed know to hang themselves from a closet when a 30-year-old know to hang themselves from a closet? Like I feel like it's a spirit. Depression and anxiety. They mean that as spirits. They don't care about nobody and they're going to take your soul.
I can
Fix it.
honestly agree with Rage on that. And again, it happens once in a blue moon. I don't agree all the time with it, but a lot of this stuff is spiritual. You know, it could be demons. It could be. I think the number one rule is prayer. You definitely need to accept God in your life. You definitely need to pray. In all seriousness.
Seriously.
I've never been a person for, people to get on medication and stuff because medication just cope the situation. And by coping it, you're not going to really, you're never going to solve it, unless you deal with it directly. Prayer, I believe, always helps. I'm a man of God. As much as I curse, a lot of shit I talk, I am definitely a man of God.
That's a plus.
May not seem like it, but
So with that being
Work
said,
on that.
So with that being said, since we've noticed over the years that there has been, more of a secular movement and the black community seems to be moving away from the church. And it seems that since we've moved away from the church, we've seen a decline in a lot of our cultural norms. We've seen the dismantling of the home. We've seen, like I said, the rise in mental health diagnoses, as well as, the outcomes which comes with that, unfortunately, where, the rise of especially our young girls and even, like I said, our boys, where they are taking their lives. I mean, that right there used to be something, that was pretty much, when we heard that right there, we automatically knew that was, white folks. But now we're seeing it more and more, not only in our young women, but, in our older women. I mean, we're seeing more and more women, and I don't know if it's their hatred towards men, where you had the woman who, because she lost custody to her kids, she set herself and the children on fire. I mean, we see a lot of the women, going, Casey Anthony, where we're having these issues. So how do we really combat, these problems? How do we solve it? Is it going back to the church? Is it going back to seeking God first? How do we, combat these issues?
I feel like holding city officials and people in government responsible for mental health. I'm sorry.
Let it. Can you go take it? What do you mean by you? Why is it that you feel it's the politicians
Because
and government?
For some reason, it's glamorized when some people do crazy stuff. You understand?
Oh, I
And
get
then
what you're saying.
it's a distraction for others. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate the fact that they sit back and they allow mental health individuals to run free in New York, stab up people. To get free, first of all, how you even get out, and it's such an issue that everybody can see it. Look at Instagram, look at Facebook. Everybody fighting. Everybody is going through their own issues because this world is crazy, and Trump is at the head of it. And the only thing he freaking says is, "Oh, Joe Biden and them's team. Those Democrats did this, bruh. You've been up in here for a whole year and some change. Stop playing."
Trizzy?
Rage was on a good run for a minute there, but I have to disagree with her.
I don't
thought we was
care.
gonna have a full day where we agreed on something.
I hope not. I hope not.
That might be the day Jesus is coming.
Yes.
Say hell may freeze
Yes.
over.
That's definitely the day of the
Hell was
return.
freezing over.
Please.
I mean, I don't think you really can blame politics for it. I think we will talk Democrat, Republican, but again, I'm not gonna get on my Republican shit. I think a lot of these Democrat stuff that was going on with all this, free, be sexually liberated, and all this. You don't need no family. You can just run crazy. You go and see these psychiatrists. They train the psychiatrists to tell them, oh, you're stressed out. Go turn up. Your kids go bother you. Go on vacation. It's like, yo, look at what we have become as a society. Our parents and our grandparents they had less than what we had, but they made the family structure and everything work. There wasn't as many mental health cases back then compared to now. I mean, we have social media. We see certain things that impact certain people. Certain kids see certain things at such a young age. Their impact throughout their whole life. I think we have to start there. Start
Who
back
controls
to
that, though? Who controls all of that?
So with that being said, do you I mean, let's deal with the elephant in the room. People don't want to talk about it, but how has so-called the systemic racist system that we live in, how has that impacted on our mental wellness or lack thereof?
Man, I don't know about y'all, but it's a challenge. I'm a 6'3" woman, black, okay? So whenever I go somewhere, I'm going to be seen. And I get the looks of sometimes approval, a lot of disapproval. You know what I'm saying?
So,
not from my people, but it's a challenge. What do you mean? It's not a soul. It's impacting
I mean, it's 2026. Aren't we post-racial? We had Obama. Isn't that what they tell us?
Oh,
we had Obama.
Oh, please. Again, like I said, go to these little other neighborhoods and walk up in there and see how much they care about Obama. Like I said, it's a challenge just being in this world, period. You know what I'm saying? And dealing with racism. Or dealing with people who don't even like you, or dealing with your family members who talking about you behind your back, or doing whatever you got to do. Everything is a mental challenge. You understand what I'm saying? It's how you do it and how you get over it is going to be the key for you not to be falling off, okay? Don't be falling off just because you got some things going on. Talk to somebody, get a friend, get a therapist, get whatever you need to get. Just make sure you get somebody and don't hold all of that inside, because when you hold all of that inside, that's when it becomes depression, that's when it becomes anxiety, that's when you can't control it, and you go out there and you do some crazy stuff. And I don't want y'all doing crazy stuff to nobody, but this one. I allow that one.
So just to go, so before we get to Trizzy, what are some of the things that you do to, vent, to release, what you're going through? Like you said, you're talking to
stand-up comedy.
There you
Why
go.
not?
Your art form.
That's
so find
exactly.
an art.
You gotta find an outlet. You have to. If you don't, you stuck, and nobody wants you stuck. Because once you stuck, the family's stuck, the friends are stuck, everybody is stuck in that same position that you are holding them in, because you cannot release whatever's going on in your brain. Release it. Talk to somebody.
So Trizzy, I mean, with all your hurt and pain, how do you find ways to release? I mean, I don't know if people will ever say that you're normal or either you're extreme, but then you got other folks who are on your side, who agree with everything that you say. You got a lot of the men who take your side. But what do you say about the mental health challenges out there, and what do you do to deal with the stresses and the whole idea of being, a black man in America in this system?
The way I deal with stress, typically, I eliminate those individuals who are stressing me out now. Before, I used to entertain them, listen to their fucking problems. I don't do any of that anymore. Let them go. And certain things I do to relieve stress, I go to the gun range, let off some lead.
You see a black woman and that black man. Every time he
goes
to the
type of gun I may shoot that day depends on how I feel, the severity of the stress.
So what kind do you have, just regular targets, or what targets do you have out there?
Oh man, I have all targets. I got targets even with people's faces on it. But I'm different.
Yes, you are.
Are you really? I mean, a lot of men find going to the range therapeutic.
Yeah, it is therapeutic. It's mostly men there. We don't have to hear any freaking woman.
Here we go.
You
Here we
know?
go. Here we go.
But it's a good time. It's a good stress relief. And in all seriousness, I even advise women to do the same thing. Maybe it'll keep them
They're
from
doing
bugging
it.
out.
They're doing it. Calm down.
But all right, so but again, let's deal with you're a black man of color in Connecticut. How do you deal with the subtle racism that we encounter almost every day?
I cuss motherfuckers out. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie online. I cuss motherfuckers out. I get pissed off. I cuss them out. See them the next day. Yeah, this is good. You shouldn't have said that racist shit when you saw me the first time. I don't really get
Bipolar.
stressed out like that. Maybe it is bipolar.
It is.
Sometimes I drink. I may have a couple glasses of some gin.
Not the gin.
Yeah, the gin. And just sit back, talk shit. I really don't let things stress me out anymore. Today's my birthday. I'm 49 years
Oh,
old.
happy! Hey!
I made it to 49. A lot of people didn't predict it, but I did. People were guaranteed I won't make it past 35.
What they think? One of your exes was gonna come and shoot you or something?
Once again, all of the above.
He was gonna get mushed to death.
All of the above. But I'm here. I made it.
All right. All right. Well, I ain't know that, so happy birthday again.
Mhm.
And
Thank you.
I'm just happy that women are doing whatever they want to do. I don't care what they're doing. You deserve whatever you want to make you happy. You got to live in your skin. So do you. Don't be shameful about what you've done. If you've done it, you've done it. If you hurt this nigga, you hurt him. It is what it is.
But then how do you move forward from that? I mean, how, like you said, we got a lot of the women who are dealing with, trauma from, maybe their fathers or weren't around. They had, bad relationships with men because they chose the men who they couldn't discern were using flattering words. I mean, don't you know the poet's words were never meant to be your friend? I mean, he gonna tell you the lies you want to hear. I mean, and
Well,
and
if so many brothers wasn't treating you so badly, the brother with the poetry wouldn't work. You understand what I'm saying? So women gonna have to understand we want to be treated the way we want to be treated. Period. Right?
And what is that, though? I mean, going back to what I said
What you mean,
earlier
what
about
is
the
that?
Disney
With
delusion.
respect. With
But
respect,
the delusion.
with just as much respect that you want. You understand what I'm saying? We want to be greeted when we get home from work, because y'all usually not. So
Black
at the end of the
Trizzy.
day,
Wait, let her finish.
at the
Trizzy.
end of the day, we want to be treated the same way that y'all want the treatment. If y'all want to be respected, we want to be respected. Point blank, period. Be outside. Don't be in everybody else's face. Don't be on everybody's in everybody's DM and on their social media, liking their shit, DMing them, trying to get with them, when you know you got somebody that's in a relationship with you. Don't disrespect your man when his back is turned and his boy trying to talk to you. Don't do it. Point blank, period. If you don't want it done to you, you don't do it to them. So that's how I operate in life. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm a tit for tatter.
Trizzy?
Black Tracy's gonna give you the translation. I want to do whatever the fuck I want to do. I want you to treat me the best. I'm gonna bring absolutely nothing to the table. If you're a guy making $150,000, I'm not gonna bring you no more than about $2 worth of femininity. I'm gonna be feminine when I feel like being feminine. Women always talk about what they need. They never even do what men need. That's why we find a lot of men start to find a lot of women disposable. Just use them and dump them.
But then how do we overcome that? Because we're dealing with mental health, and how do we solve some of these traumas that we're bringing into these relationships?
You have to get women on the same fucking page. You have to start getting other women to call out other women for their bullshit. And until you get that, I think guys is easy. You can get the majority guys on the same page. And majority of guys are kind of on the same page. you're gonna have those that just like buck wild and he just don't know how to control. He has no dick control. Okay, you're gonna have some of those, but for the most
All right.
part,
So with that being said, at what age should a man, not a boy, should have, as you say, dick control? Well, I mean, at what age do you think
you should actually have it by like 21. And the reason why I say that is
with 21, you think dick control by 21, is that really reasonable?
Yes, because you have to be able to start
Delusional.
it. No, you have to be able to start it. Now, we all know most men, 90% of men don't, right? But if you don't begin to start it, or have an adult or another man there to teach your son, yo, listen, these are the repercussions of doing this, X, Y, and Z. If you're going to do this, at least strap up. You got to do this, at least do that. Be careful, and be careful the type of woman you have kids with. Be careful the type of woman you be with.
So-
Nobody's talking to them because there's no male influence inside the home.
So is a man who doesn't have dick control, what would you say he's suffering from mentally if he can't, control, his phallus?
He's suffering from emotions from his mother.
Back to the blame of a woman.
Absolutely.
Back to
Why
the
do you
blame
say
of a
that?
woman.
Why do you say it's the
Help.
mother and not maybe
Because
the father?
the father instills discipline, mother instills nurturing, right? So when a son goes to his father be like, no, listen, you better not get no girl pregnant. Don't bring no kids. Don't make me no grandfather before it's time. Don't do this, don't do that. Now, some cases, does that still happen? Absolutely. But more fathers in our house, it reduces it a hell of a lot compared to what it is now. Now kids go out, men go out, he do whatever. The mother just like, oh, you got some girl pregnant. Oh, he got this girl pregnant. It's like a fucking celebration. Fathers in the house, that's a fucking disgust. It's disgusting. We look at it as being disgusting. You're this young, you haven't even begun your life. You're not even able to take care of yourself. So how you gonna take care of a child? We put those kind of mental things into men, which females don't.
So
because you're chaotic by nature.
If you're seeing a man over, so if you see a man over 25 and doesn't have dick control, as a man, what does that say to you about his character?
He was raised by a single motherfucking mother.
And
can he be rehabilitated? Probably not.
great. So, well, you're having a man who's saying, listen, you got these men who don't have fathers, and they're using their words to tell lies to get in your coochie. So who's
I guess
fault
the women,
is
I
that?
guess, no,
One
no,
more.
uh-uh. I guess the women taught those men how to say the slick stuff to get into women's ears.
Absolutely.
And to get in between their legs.
Absolutely.
And I guess we also teach our sons to go eat coochie. And I guess we also tell our sons that when you lick the crack of their ass. Okay, that's a little too much. But anyway, my point is, that peers, people, you have peers, okay? And they influence everything that a parent, I don't care if it's two parents still right now to this day, 50 years later, and all those kids are grown, their peers have more influence on them than their own parents do. You understand what I'm saying? Your parents could teach you right, your parents could teach you wrong. You get with the wrong group of individuals, and your mind will change. Your mental stability will change because you never knew that motherfuckers could act like this. You understand what I'm saying? So when you see in somebody infects your mind with their delusional ways, unfortunately, it does impact all the stuff that your mom and dad taught you. I don't know why he's changing up. He said, first of all, it wasn't no daddies in the house. Then he said the daddy teach the man how to do this, that,
I never
the
said
other.
daddy teach
You
the
say
man,
you
but
go
go
to
ahead.
your dad. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But if the dad's not there, how can you go to your dad?
Okay.
You can't. You understand what I'm saying? So society is helping these men be the same way that they've been for years and years and years. The only change up was women got tired of that shit and gave y'all some of y'all own medicine, and y'all can't deal with it. So at the end of the day, if you can't dish it,
I have a neighbor, right? And I really didn't mean to put her out on blast, but Black Tree's gonna put her on blast.
ooh, she gonna whoop that ass.
Oh, she we're hoping
gonna
she
whoop
don't
that
see this
ass.
stream, but she has a son, right?
All right.
I sit back, watch how I'm gonna call him a little dirtbag. Watch how the little motherfucker goes and he manipulates the shit out of the mother.
How
He
so?
learned
Can you give
because
it?
he knows how to play it. She's like outside yelling, "Oh ma, I'm doing this. See, I did this for you, so I can get." And she's like all warm and fuzzy. Okay, oh yeah, I want to go out and do this with my boys. Can I go? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You good? You good? He. He learns how to manipulate his mother, and he used those same skills in the manipulation of his mother to the females he encounters.
Okay, again, that's that male bullshit, but keep on going because
So
you keep
where's
on
the
blaming
father?
women.
I mean, you sit up there.
There's no father there because if I'm being a man, right, and if say for instance for some real reason I was in her life, which God knows I would never be, but say Black Trizzy was, right?
Never say never.
If I was in her life, the young man would come to me. I wouldn't even go for the bullshit. I wouldn't go for it. I was like, yo, listen. Okay, you done running that with your mother? No, you ain't doing this. Why? Because I can read right through it. A lot of times, other males can read a male or what he's thinking because we were all that age at one point. So we all know what to say and how to maneuver a certain way. Do you disagree?
No, as a young man, oh yeah.
But women don't have that experience as men have. That's why we able to pick this shit up and be like, nah, listen, dude. I was 13 3 times. You know what I'm saying? I'm like 3 times your age or 4 times your age. I get it. I know what you're trying to do. I see it. I'm no fool. The mother on the other end, she knows nothing about a male's how a male moves. And then she just becomes so soft with her son. Oh, he doesn't have a father. Yada, yada, yada. And she babies him up to try to make up for the time the motherfucker father's not there.
So do you think that absence causes depression in young men?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what do you think that?
Because you have to have someone masculine. You have to have that. As being a young man, you have to have that masculine energy in order to grow.
And what about?
You need that person. You fall down, he's telling you get the fuck up. He's not like fucking petting you. He's not doing all that other shit. That depression comes from being coddled and you don't know how to handle problems. A lot of times that's where it comes from.
Rage, your thoughts?
She kind of agrees. She won't say it, but she agrees. I respect it though.
I can't
respect
even.
it.
No, I have my own mind. Thank you. In terms of just being a woman who's been in all kinds of positions, you want that relationship with your children. F what's going on in everybody else's house. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that comfort. You got to have that relationship with your kids. When a man walks out of a house and he takes that testosterone with him, it's up to him to come back with it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's chasing him. Nobody's looking for that kind of authority. Nobody is looking for that kind of need. You know what I'm saying? If a woman feels like she can handle that, she handles it. And regardless of how she's handling it, give her her fucking flowers for not leaving. Like, y'all motherfuckers always want to be like, oh, the man is not in the house. The woman did this. The woman did that wrong. She did this wrong. She did that. She stayed. Nigga, she stayed. Regardless of what her circumstances was or how she was going to make it the next day or the next year, she stayed.
All right, with that being said, how does that impact the mother's mental health? And what other kind?
How the fuck you think it impacts a woman's mental health to not have 2 freaking people's income and taking care of kids, to be told that you're going to be there and you gone, to be dealing with other people now because you got to deal with other people now just to survive? How you think that's going to impact a woman's mental health? Of course it's going to impact a woman's mental health, but it's strong women and it's weak women on this world. Some women, weak as hell, will hurt somebody, the wrong person, but they will end up hurting somebody because their mental health has not been checked. You understand what I'm saying? Then you got them strong sisters that's just like, yo, whatever's coming my way, I'm just going to ride that damn wave until it's over and I'm on to the next wave. Because on the real, we ain't got time for all that bullshit. But I did have to talk to somebody for about 2 years. So I ain't gonna trip. You know what I'm saying? I'm real. And you damn sure need therapy. I don't know what the hell you did, but at the end of the day, it was good to just get something out weekly to talk to somebody. You understand what I'm saying? No matter if your frustrations are bullshit or not. Just having that outlet is amazing. you gotta definitely do it. I don't care if it's a church person, they doing it free on Sunday. Do whatever you need to do. Just get that assistance.
So you think you definitely need to have somebody to vent and talk to be able to.
You have to. You have to, because once you go into solidarity, you in trouble.
So how did you know what support group to choose to add into your circle so that it would that you could see the light at the end of the tunnel?
You have to know what, first of all, is your issue. You know what I'm saying? And you decide on based on that, and you look it up based on whatever you going through. If it's a death of a child, if it's a death of a husband, if it's a death of a wife, whatever the group can be. It's so many therapeutic groups out here that are helping individuals through what they are going through. But if you don't look for them, you won't find them. The way I found my person is because I talked to everybody. So I ended up running into my own therapist. You understand what I'm saying? And then being able to take my insurance and things of that nature. That's another thing. Some you non-working individuals, go to your community, your cultural centers and things of that nature. Go to the city. They got free programs all the time.
Trizzy?
Third time, I agree with Rage. Mental health is a serious thing. I think you have to be able to deal with the consequences for whatever the action may have taken place. You really can't run from it. Everybody's going through shit. I know Black Trizzy's been through a lot of shit.
And how did you cope with it? I mean, a lot of people don't know your backstory. We don't need to get into it. But when you've been hurt by the women in your life, your friends who you thought were friends, you realize they were just there for the ride when things were up. How did you deal with, that disappointment? How did you get through it?
Earlier on in years, when I was younger, I dealt with women that, it don't matter what you do. If you're not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And then I started thinking, I embraced the Black Trizzy. And I says to myself, it's not my girl, it's just my turn. And I hold that to be true.
Mental health.
Not my girl, it's just my turn.
I mean, but with that thinking, do you think you'll ever be able to find a partner, a wife, a woman that you could actually be with and not have that view, or at least
there is, but it's like finding a needle in the haystack. It exists, yeah, but is it easily to be found?
I can see that needle like, not me, don't pick me.
All these women, I'm telling you.
Not me.
So it's just so many of these women just have more miles than JetBlue. It's disgusting. And I get turned off. I always ask.
How do you feel about mental health, Michael?
That's a good question. I think in today's society, some of it, we really have to look at what's causing it. And I think a lot of it we don't want to acknowledge is that American racism. Especially when it comes to the Black community, we're dealing with a lot of trauma, that we really don't acknowledge. We deal with it. We see it like, how in our humor we talk about the dozens, but do we really understand that the dozens come from the breeding plantations? The trauma in that we're breaking so many of our taboos where they want us to, grow in population, accretion, because, the Constitution said 1808, we're not bringing anymore because we were constantly fighting the system or resisting it. And because we don't know that side of the story, that we've accepted this condition, and the atrocities that come along with that. But at the same time, we find life. And, once we had that sense of family and community, we didn't have those mental health issues that, start off small, such as depression or anxiety. Think about the resilience of our ancestors who had their children ripped away from them. Imagine the strength that you have to be as a man to know that the master's son and the master are coming to sleep with your woman and your daughter. How do you deal with that? And again, there were those of us who did resist, who, many of masters found themselves unalive.
But do you think sometimes it too could be too as I don't want to say like scientific experiments, but things that they may have given us that makes us more like sensitive to certain things, like I don't want to go off into a whole nother topic, but that was one of the reasons why I've always been anti, this is a disclaimer, always been anti like vaccinations and all that other stuff, because I think emotionally what that starts to do, it starts to train the mind differently.
Well, not only that, but again, like I said, I put on my Aristogato scholar cap, and we got to understand that when it comes to how we've been treated by the medical profession in this country, one of the things I'll say we hear
horribly.
Right. I mean, and let me share a story about Mr. Fortune out in Waterbury. Mr. Fortune was a black man who was owned by the town Dr. Preserve Porter. And the story goes that as Mr. Fortune got up in age, he and Dr. Porter were walking along the Housatonic River.
Right.
And Mr. Fortune allegedly fell in the river and passed away. And being the town's doctor, and that, according to, the story, that Mr. Fortune was sort of like the family, he decides to bring the body back, and they say he boiled the body, flayed the skin, and used his skeletal remains as a teaching tool, all while his family lived in the house. Imagine that type of trauma. All right. Then we deal with Fannie Lou Hamer and the famous Mississippi appendectomy. Then we have the Tuskegee. So these are things that, we really have to take into consideration as to why we're so fearful. And again, a lot of these medications, what are the side effects that happen that we're giving to our children, that we're taking? And I sometimes think that some of these issues, again, unless we can figure out and say that this anxiety is a clinical issue or this depression is clinical, I think a lot of these mental health issues are a form of scapegoating. Accountability. I mean, especially, I'm sorry, anxiety, you're worried about what's going to happen in the future, or depression, what happened in the past. I mean,
it's different levels of anxiety. It's not only about worrying about what happens in the future and things of that nature. You could try to want to strangle this motherfucker, but society going to lock you guys up. So you can just hold that anger inside that you want to fuck somebody up, right? At the end of the day, if you touch them, you're going to jail, so don't do it. At the end of the day, okay? But however, if you so angry inside, your heart can slow down, your heart can speed up. That's anxiety. That's what you're going through at the time. It ain't about projecting nothing. You can't do whatever you want to do at the time.
But is that right there something that's based on social conditions, or is that a neurological, problem that needs medication? Is it?
It doesn't need no damn medication. Because if you think about how many times do people really piss you off that much that you want to get to them? They don't. People don't do that all the time. So why would you need a medication for something that's going to happen once or twice a year?
But what about, like you said, for those
I'm not taking no medication for 365 days.
No, but you have those people who are, like I said, the biggest issues, in our community that when I talk to a lot of women, they're either on some type of medication for anxiety or depression.
They crazy. I ain't taking that.
So, but I'm saying these are the things that's going on that we're seeing. So I'm saying I don't know if some of these issues
I think I'm lying. I'm starting to remember the anxiety pills. They're amazing, especially if you're a smoker, okay? If you're a smoker trying to get off of weed,
there it is.
Go get you some anxiety pills. Honey, they only going to give you like 5 because they don't want you to get strung out. But I'm just saying, those are amazing pills. So if you have anxiety, definitely go to the doctor.
But again, that anxiety, is it a neurological condition, or is it just how you're feeling and they're just giving you a pill to mask your feeling?
I remember when they said that bullshit to me, she having an anxiety attack. I was horrified. I got sent out of the workplace with the ambulance coming down a gurney, and they're talking about she's just having an anxiety attack. And all I wanted to do was get to my ex, one of my exes right now, and whoop his ass because he ain't come home. So I know for a fact that anxiety can change whatever the hell the situation is. If you're mad enough, you can have anxiety.
Is that anxiety, or is that just you can't control
It
your
was anxiety
emotions?
if my
Why is
goddamn
that
heart, my heart
So,
slowed
but-
all the way down. It was anxiety. It was a
Translation.
reaction.
Ray just wanted to kill him. See, she's a killer. We all know that.
You know, if this shit come out and I done killed somebody, it better be you. Okay? It
No,
better
but
be
I
you.
get it.
It better be you.
But again,
Okay.
are those really clinically being able to be clinically diagnosed, or is it just subjective? And is it part of big pharma to push pills?
Part of Big Pharma, without a doubt. Everything is a pill for it. There's a pill for it. You want to lift weights, there's a pill to take that. You want to get more muscles, take the creatine. There's always some substance for you to take instead of doing shit naturally.
Who's doing shit naturally at this age, okay? Give me all that shit. That's why I'm small now, okay? You see it. You see it.
Ozempic.
No, not Ozempic, but that rise.
Wegovy?
that rise. Nope, that rise. See, that mushroom coffee.
So, but that's natural.
Bitch. Say it again. That's what I'm talking about. So we don't have to do no regular exercises. Why you gotta go to the gym when you could just take some shit and sip on it first thing in the morning, and you could get.
Ray, you drink Rise?
I used to. I stopped because I don't know what it's doing to my body. It just keep on taking everything. Everything gone. Everything.
Seen the commercials for it. I thought it was deadly, but she takes it.
Everybody I know.
Could be the
take
reason
it.
why she's so angry, but
So,
Hell yeah.
Trizzy, do you think that these depression, anxiety, are they clinical or are they just subjective? What
I
is
think
your
it's more
take?
subjective than anything else because, again, depression, all this shit is all feeling. Depression is not a feeling. Everything is a feeling. So what are you doing to change that feeling?
So what about when they get to that point of, as they say,
Suicidal?
clinical depression? Some of it can be either suicidal, but what about when they say they're clinically depressed, they can't get up, they can't move? Is that something that's just in their mind, or is that a real neurological disconnect?
I think it's a feeling, and let me explain why. I know a lot of people out there probably won't believe it, but at one point, Black Trizzy was depressed. I went through a state of depression. A lot was going on. A lot of shit. Started smoking weed. Then I started to say to myself, why am I doing this? What I'm going to do to get better. Then I began going on YouTube. I started watching motivation. And what guy that kind of got me going was this guy named E.T. He was like, yo, in order to be successful, you got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. If you don't want it as bad as you want to breathe, you don't want to be successful. I began watching that kind of motivation. And it started like, wheels started turning. I started getting up. He was like, yo, every day you looking to do, don't sit in bed and do the same thing. Every day, write down a list of things you got to do for the week that you need to do in order to make yourself, to get yourself, and build yourself. I began doing those steps. Then I just got out of the depression.
But that was like your
Became
therapist.
Trizzy.
That was your therapist.
So,
That was
did
your
you
fucking
find? So
therapist.
you mentioned something that I think is very crucial. You said that you started to write it down.
Absolutely.
Why do you think? Because a lot of people don't understand. I think that pen to paper, writing things down, are very
Makes a
therapeutic.
huge difference.
So-
Huge difference. And then you list the whole list of goals. And every day I gotta at least achieve one of those goals. Then from one thing to two things. From two things to three things. And as you started doing that, naturally your body begins to motivate. Naturally your body begins to want to do things. And I even used to sit at home and say, yo, okay, I have nothing to do tomorrow. Let me list off some shit I want to get done. Sometimes I make the list so long I know damn well I can't accomplish it. But mentally I try to accomplish it.
Okay. Why don't you make a fucking list for how your views are for what you make that fucking list.
That's what
and
made
then
this mind
accomplish it.
strong.
And then accomplish
That's
that
what made
list.
this
That's what
fucking
you
mind
do.
strong.
All right, so Ray, I know as we wrap it up, what are some of the things, as you know, the life that you lived, and what are the things that you've done to overcome, your feelings about of depression and anxiety, and the stresses of being a 6'3" black woman, in New England.
With a huge attitude.
So you just keep on going, right? I don't have time to stop and think about shit that depressed me. I was told just to get therapy because it was something we were all trying to challenge and do at the time. You know what I'm saying? Saying that we can't do therapy because black people ain't live by that. Therapy, that's some white people stuff. That's what we thought. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, getting therapy and talking to somebody definitely makes sure that you can move forward and not be stuck in a hole, not be buried in a rabbit hole, or just don't have nobody to be your outlet and help you. Get the fuck out of here. You got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to share your emotions. You got to be able to share your experiences. And if you don't want to share it with anybody, share it with God. He's the greatest therapist, because that way ain't nobody talking about you behind your back, and therapists ain't talking about their cases and this clinical issue that's coming in their office, talking about what's going on in their life. You ain't got to worry about none of that. If you go to God, He's going to direct you the right way, and He's going to make sure your life changes. It's already written anyway, so that's how I feel about it. It's already written, and I'm going to keep on going until He tells me to stop. And when He tells me to stop, y'all be at my funeral.
Well, I think the reason why mental health issues now are becoming mainstream is because we've separated ourselves from God and the church. Because that right there was where we received our healing and our wellness, because that's really that was our institution. So I definitely think, as a community, we need to go back to God and back to the church. And it's not all about, being in the sanctuary, because remember, the church is really a form of our cultural expression, where we come together, and it's the dinners, it's the choir, it's the singing, it's the coming together. And I think that part of having community, where we then had those little groups, even with the church and the gossiping, that right there was a form of therapy. Think we need to get back to that. And for me, I like to read. So as we're talking about mental health, a couple books I'd like for people to read to really deal with it. Number one is Frantz Fanon's Black Skin, White Mask. But you probably need a dictionary and a thesaurus to understand it. But again, I think his was one of the first to really talk about the effects of racism, oppression, and colonization on our minds, and the problems that it could lead to if we don't recognize it. Another one is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's The ISIS Papers. She gives a great analysis of some of the reasons of this systemic racist system that we're in, and some of the ways that we can overcome it. And as black men, I want to give the book that I would like to recommend for most brothers to read is called Man Not by Dr. Tommy J. Curry. He's the premier scholar in terms of black male studies, to understand, what we've really gone through, historically as well as mentally. And another book that, again, I want to recommend in terms of understanding some of our struggles as black men, because, we talk about, black men going out here and there, but not understanding the role that we had to have as breeders. There's a book by Thomas Foster called Rethinking Rufus, and it talks about from a black man's perspective of why is he forced to sleep with a woman he doesn't even care about. How does he really feel when he's married and he loves his woman? We don't talk about those stresses even today. It seems that, this is how we are perceived as, once we get into a certain age group, that we become walking phalluses. That's all we're perceived as. Mm-hmm. If we're not a phallus, then we're a thug or a criminal. And I think that's part of the media's role to push us in there. I mean, to me, it's an agenda. There was a book that came out called After the Ball, and it was talking about how America was going to overcome its fear of gays in the 90s and hatred. At the same time, when they started to put this image of gay men and homosexuality in a positive light in media and cinema, is the same time we went from hip hop being socially conscious to now it becoming gangster rap, bitches, hoes, and this image right here, which is then leading us into deviant behavior. This is why we start seeing the rise of the prison industrial complex, the music that we're listening to, how we're going into that, which is creating these, psychopathic tendencies in our community. Like, you listen to the radio, and when you go to the black stations, all you hear, like they're saying now, is killing your brother, degrading your woman. You go to the white radio stations, you don't hear that. It's love, it's family, it's harmony. Now, you might still have some of those fun songs like Your Girl is a Centerfold, but for the most part, you're hearing harmonious melodic tunes on, mainstream white media stations, where you're hearing these disconnect chords, in our music, on those frequencies, which are leading us into, as we're saying, that demonic secular behavior, which is then creating a lot of this dysfunction that we see in our communities. So I think that some of it goes back to what we're saying. Turn some of this stuff off. Find other outlets. Go take a walk. Go to the park. Go walk in nature. Just breathe some fresh air. Go make angels in the snow. It's out there. I think, going back to what you're saying, find a creative art form or a hobby where you can be constructive to release that stress and that pain. Some of this, part of our therapy is this podcast where we can come on out, we can agree to disagree, and laugh, and have a good time and come together to say, okay, as people, we're going to have our disagreements, but at the same time, we have a bigger problem, and we can come together via love. And that's what this is what we do. We talk about, the tough conversations. That's why we call it Bar Talk Raw and Unfiltered. Ain't nobody more raw than Rizzy, ain't nobody more raging than Rage, and I just try to keep the balance, even though I can be skewed in my views, because I'm pro-black man. I don't deny that right there. But again, that's part of my therapy, to be able to sit up in here, do my research, and say, hey, this is where we're right, this is where we're wrong, this is where we need to step up and acknowledge where we've fallen, and how do we get back up. So with that said, this is Bar Talk. I'm your boy, the Aristogetto Scholar.
Road Rage.
Black Trizzy.
And until next time.
Trizzy.
Ew. Ew.